blessed to have both of these people in my life, Amanda and Jake. Amanda and I have known each other for about a year and a half now. You're one of the first bookkeepers that had connected with me, and I send a lot of clients over to her. She does an absolutely amazing job if you're looking for a bookkeeper to work with. Amanda and I, about two and a half weeks ago, and it's been happening more and more on Facebook and discussions and groups, that birth workers, small business owners don't really fully understand HIPAA compliance. And even you and I got a very specific professional discussion going on, because I'm referring clients and I'm telling them one thing and then you're telling them something different. And I'm like, okay, we got to get on the same page. We got to understand, what are we missing? What is it? Because the discussion was around like QuickBooks and bookkeeping, and QuickBooks isn't directly HIPAA compliant, but what parts can you put into it for patient, and when can you use it? It's one thing putting in transactions and another thing sending out invoices. So you and I had a different perspective of how to approach it. And so you found Jake out there. I would love for you to introduce yourself, and then we'll introduce Jake, because he is absolutely going to be an amazing resource to midwives and HIPAA compliance questions. He has taught me so much the last week.
Thanks, Leslie, for having me on. I'm Amanda Wylie. I'm with Bookkeeping, which is an abundant life bookkeeping company. I've been just passionate about midwives since I was 11, really, and excited to be supporting more and more birth workers in my business. Yeah, and kind of like you said, Leslie, I just became aware as I started working specifically with midwives, the HIPAA compliance issues with QuickBooks Online. And so kind of like you, I was digging in, trying to find more research, trying to find out, and a lot of conflicting information. And so I started looking for, hey, where can we find some expert advice? And that's where Jake came in. It was just a great, when I first talked to him, it was great just to see how much he knew, and I appreciate that, Jake, that you weren't stumbling around, you know what you're talking about. And anyway, Leslie,
well, he wasn't even holding back. I mean, within 2 minutes of his free discovery call, I was like, okay, I have a question for you, and he answered it 1,000 times more thorough and better than I ever anticipated. And I'm like, okay, now let's backpedal. You're insanely a great expert. Tell me about your services.
Yeah.
So Jake, why don't you tell everybody about you, and we'll dig into the question that's been debating and going around with midwives across the country. We can get the legit answer out to everyone.
Yeah, well, certainly appreciate the kind words, Leslie and Amanda, and certainly appreciate you both taking the time to talk about this and have me on. Just for everyone out there, my name is Jake Fisher. I work for Accountable HQ, and certainly our kind of goal, our mission was to provide really organizations, companies, healthcare providers, individuals, anyone who's subject to HIPAA kind of standards. We want to be able to provide a solution to all of the administrative requirements. And what that kind of includes, what that entails, is all of the documentation, all of the proof that you would need to be able to kind of display your compliance to, maybe you have a customer, you know, maybe to your patient or to your user, certainly, as well as, you know, in the event of an audit or a breach, we want to give our clients all of the peace of mind, all of the confidence that you are indeed compliant, and that you're going to be treating, you know, any information, and more specifically, any protected health information in a compliant manner. And certainly our platform, our solution does that.
Yeah, I was so grateful Amanda found Jake, and he taught me. I'm going to reiterate, I've been around the medical community for 20 years as a labor and delivery nurse. I still do regularly locum assignments, midwifery care in all settings. And Jake has taught me so much about HIPAA compliance that I had no clue about the level, because we think as average healthcare providers, HIPAA is protecting their healthcare information. It's making sure we don't put stuff on social media, we don't email, we send in a HIPAA compliant platform, and we think we're HIPAA compliant because we're following these things. But that's the average standard. If you truly want to be HIPAA compliant, there's yearly trainings, there's policies, you got to designate. I mean, there's so much Jake taught me. money. And our biggest thing we wanted to reiterate is, how do we advocate for the birth community, the female business owners, midwives, lactation consultants, doulas, anybody serving with medical information that could be applicable, that they're not feeling overwhelmed and they're going to shut down because they're like, oh, great, I'm just not doing this. So I won't hire Amanda, and then they just won't know that I'm going to put it on an Excel spreadsheet now. Like, I want us to be empowered. Your system, I'm going to reiterate before we get into the question we're teasing with, it's turnkey, it's simple, it's so affordable, the value in the backdrops. Don't go to the price tag. He's got very customizable packages for any size employer. So just do a Calendly, go connect with Jake and learn about their services. I promise you will be so grateful you connected with Jake.